Welcome back, Randy. And as we are about to start this last round, final information skydiving four-way. Whew! Final.
Yep.
Exciting.
Exactly.
All right, so we were just mentioning earlier, we did not see Lithuania fly their round, and I've actually was just informed that they just didn't show up.
Missed their call.
Yeah, they were in, and also maybe, who knows, they're in the very bottom of the chart, so maybe they decided to go do something else today.
Could be. Could be.
All right, so some of the judging is starting to come in for round 8, but obviously that was that was less than an hour ago, so we don't have all the scores yet. We have the bottom of the chart, but we do not have the top scores yet. So if they come in, we will inform you. You can follow the scores on the website for the event, www.WISC2019.com. You can find results for every discipline. And especially right now, all the formation skydiving finals that are about to start. So we're going to watch the open first, and then we'll move on to the final for the female category, then the junior, and eventually the VFS.
Yep. As Slovakia is headed in, nice clean start. They're currently, after round 9, they're at 172 points total, with an average in the high teens, maybe the low 20s. This skydive, the draw, or well, this flight, the draw is 21.719. It is 3 blocks. They're relatively quick for blocks. That is definitely a relative statement. There is no slot switching or memory in this one. It's a fairly straightforward flight. And the block in the middle, the 7th, called the Side Buddies, is actually 4 independent flyers making a 360, which is one of the reasons why I say this is relatively fast.
The 360s can be made in any direction?
In any direction, that's correct.
So 2 can go one way, 2 can go the other way, nothing matters.
Nothing matters.
As long as they do a complete 360s around their center of
correct.
Their axis.
Correct.
So lots of turning with, I guess, if you have a draw with 3 different blocks, lots of moving around.
Oh,
some
yes.
individual, some by pairs. And we have now Ireland getting in the game.
I need to go back in and follow up on these guys. One of their major goals here was to set a new Irish record for four-way, and I haven't heard if they managed to do that or not. It would have been an Irish national record.
I guess I would not have those. I have a few records information here, but I do not have anything about Ireland, unfortunately. If any of you who are watching right now, cheering for Ireland, have this information of what the current Irish record is for formation skydiving,
that'd be awesome.
please let us up.
Please let us know.
The records are different for indoor and outdoor. There's 2 different categories, right?
Yes.
Do you know what the current world records are for indoor and outdoor in FS? Putting you on the spot early morning.
Put me on the
You're
spot.
welcome.
I don't know off the top of my head. I think the longest sequence record for four-way indoor general, so the open category, is I think it's a 54, but I could be wrong on that.
I could go and dive into the jungle that the FAI website is to find that information, but I guess I'm going to stay focused on the action for now. Randy, you're also an FS judge, and you also judge records. I've actually had the pleasure of having you as a judge for some of the records we've organized with the ladies in Arizona. Can you explain us a little bit the process of getting a record ratified?
It is not a simple process. It is quite the administrative headache. At the time of a record, whether it's a competition record as here or a performance record, which would be something like I've worked with you on in the past, Domi, the judges have to agree that the performance meets the criteria expressed in the rules, and included in those criteria are certain things that have to be included in the dossier, and it includes a certifying statement from the judges, a roster of all the individuals involved, and the plan that is going to be put forward. The idea of the heart and soul of it being, we're going to show you what we're going to do, and then we're going to go do it. And along the way, individual athletes have to make sure that their sporting licenses are up to date with their NACs, and that they're eligible to be on a world record. Once the performance is complete, the judges sign a certification statement, assemble all the necessary evidence, and submit it on something that happens other than at an FCE. It has to be submitted through the National Air Sport Control. And then it will work its way up to FAI, and eventually FAI will get to it. That process is unfortunately quite long.
Quite long and fairly tedious.
And tedious.
Not as fun as breaking the record, I have to say.
Exactly. FAI is continuing to try and improve and streamline the process, but it's not an easy one because the level of detail that has to be gone into is quite high.
Yeah, I guess it is a fine line between making it a little bit more simple, but also making sure that it stays absolutely legit because, well, this is the entity that is in charge of keeping track of our history in a way. The evolution of the records shows very clearly the evolution of the sport. The faster people fly, the bigger formation people can fly, really is a good indication of how far we've come over the years and what we can achieve. As you were joking earlier that a 10-point skydives in the 80s was probably a world champion.
Yeah.
When you're mentioning numbers like 50 in the mid-50s for world records, it shows a great deal of improvement. And we are watching now the Polish team 4:05. It is a little bit tricky to give actual ranking right now since only, I would say, 3/4 of the scores have come in for round 9, but they're coming in quite quick. So I believe that before the Belgium are flying, we might have maybe some more information.
We might get there. It's going to be close. I know the judges are working their tail ends off out there.
How many judges are actually looking at that?
There are, I believe it's 3 separate panels working on it, which means you've got 9 judges plus a couple of event judges who are doing the supervision of the panels.
Okay, so for formation skydiving, the way it works is that you are secluded in a little corner of the competition setup, and you receive videos through a certain stream, and you basically watch of the video. So the view that you are watching now live on our live stream is what the judges are seeing.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So this top view for formation skydiving, the bottom view for VFS.
VFS.
It is a little. Is it harder to judge VFS than FS as far as seeing the grips, since there's a 3D element to it?
It is, and the judging community is still climbing, working very hard to reach a very high level of competence with it.
I gotta say, it was quite surprising to me to learn that VFS was judged by FS judge. It makes sense in the way that, yes, for sure you're counting points. It is formation skydiving, but the look of it is so different. It must have been a really steep learning curve at the beginning. Speaking
personally, it absolutely was a very steep learning curve, and it's one that I personally had to spend a great deal of practice time on just to begin to feel comfortable with my own performance, much less be willing to take that performance and put it into a national championships or a world championships. And especially because with so few teams and so few meets going on annually, the opportunities tend to be rather slim. So you actually have to be actively looking for video to get out there and practice with. Almost sounds like we should take advantage of new technology to create a platform that could help with that. That way. Most of my responses to that are not necessarily fit for the live stream, but I agree with you so wholeheartedly. It's not funny. Yeah, it is. There's something in the work, and I guess that's one of the things I've been really excited about over the last few years is the involvement of a newer generation of flyers who have IT skills and competence, and are putting those skills to the benefits of the sports. And I guess my obviously domain of expertise and knowledge is the dynamic world, but we've seen a lot of really interesting things coming out of that. The Dynamar system that we're using to judge dynamic is a
quite complex mix of hardware and software, of involving the live judgment, the lights in the tunnel, and so much going on in the back office. But yeah, there's some interesting work in the process to help making judgments better on the competition, but also helping judges train, because that's something we noticed in Dynamic, at least, is within a meet, the first few rounds are always more difficult, and then when you get into the flow, you get better as it goes. But that's not acceptable. You should be just as good as the beginning as you will be at the end. And the only way to do this is to be able to train properly. And as you mentioned, there's only that many meets, and if you don't have an online way or a remote way to train yourself, then how are you going to get better? So we're working on it, and we're nice enough. We'll include FS in it. All right, up next, Germany, team 402. On this round 10, the final of the four-way open category here in Lille, Weembi, for the World Indoor Skydiving Championship 2019.
They've gotten a good start on this round, and they've got a good pace going. This is probably going to be one of their better rounds for the meet, which is always a nice way to finish a meet on a strong round.
I guess in a competition like this, where fairly mid-competition, you have a pretty decent idea of where you're going to stand. I mean, on this competition, I don't want to kill the suspense, but really in FS Open, there's not much suspense on what the podium is going to be. So I guess very quickly it turned into a competition against yourself and against your personal best, I guess. Yes. PB, is that how you call it in PB. FS as well? And by this, you look at your average, right? Because every round is different. Every meet has a different draw. So it wouldn't be really accurate or relevant to look at just, one specific round. Right. You want to look at all 10 rounds, and because of the nature of it, how many blocks and randoms are left out of a draw?
Technically, none of them are, because we also draw the tiebreaker round. But we have 20 going in with 22 blocks and 16 randoms. The sequences are drawn in either 5 or 6 points, whichever happens first as the draw occurs. And you generally wind up in the tiebreaker. You generally wind up having to repeat. Not always the way the statistics work out. It is possible to draw everything and come up to a clean end right at the end of the tiebreaker. What
actually makes a lot of sense, and now I understand why the average makes so much more sense. I'm learning so much about formation skydiving in this competition. That is really interesting. So you have, the pool is actually made to fit a 10-round format to be able to fly absolutely everything.
As you noted earlier, Domi, VFS just recently stepped up from an 8-round format to a 10-round format. One of the things that delayed that step up was coming up with the additional points for the pool, and even then, when we expanded up to a 10-round format, VFS even had to change a few of them as they come up, because in practice they didn't work out quite as well as they looked when they were being researched.
All right, a few more score coming in for round 9. Again, if you're watching us live, you can follow the scores on the web page of the event. Every category is there. Just click on the one that you want to look at. And right now we are looking at formation skydiving in the air. Team Sweden 413.
Who scored a 26 on the last round, which is a good solid score for that draw. And as I'm watching them fly this one, I think they decided in this last round to let it all hang out. This is a good solid pace they just wrapped up with, and a good performance.
Hugging it out in the wind before they make their way out.
Well done, well done.
It is always something amazing to watch for me, the camaraderie and the human experience that being on the team is. It is quite mind-blowing, very challenging at times, but so rewarding in many ways, because what you have to go through to try to be your best, and not just for yourself, but for your teammates, it is an amazing learning experience. And I don't know, makes life quite worthwhile.
Absolutely. As Switzerland takes the tunnel, having scored a 30 in round 9.
Which is so far the highest score that has been put out in round 1. So, I mean, it's not going to tickle the podium, but it's still a really nice performance.
It is a really nice performance. These guys are flying extremely clean. They've got a really nice pace going on this. The total rhythm between all four members is quite good here.
Rhythm, that's the name of the other quite legendary American four-way team, training in Chicago and Paraclete XP, I believe.
Yes.
Some of their team member, Steve and Jeanette, are here competing in 8-way.
In 8-way, yes.
With XP 8-way.
And also Andrew. Andrew's also a member.
And also Andrew. Yeah. So that's, yeah, a lot of really strong FS flying coming from the States. Ooh, that looked fast to my non-trained eye. Qatar.
It was a quick transition off the door, which makes sense given the launch, and they're you know, just like they did last round. They're really pushing it here. Looking really good. Smooth turns. There's the center point turns in the middle of the side buddies. Side buddies are excellent. They're not going anywhere. The zigzag marquee, which can really move around in the air, they're holding in place. And the Ritz ice pick, which we're seeing we saw last.
They're going too fast for you to be able to talk about what's going on.
My mouth can't keep up with my brain. Which
yeah, I know I have this problem sometimes.
Hardly ever happens. Good round, good round.
It's an issue we don't have in dynamic. The moves last way longer. All right, so I do believe that I just made a mistake by saying Qatar was flying, because Qatar is right here.
Yep, I was just realizing that one myself. That must have been the United Kingdom that just flew.
All right, Team USA.
No, this is Qatar.
This is all wrong. So that's Qatar, yeah.
This is Qatar in the tunnel.
Studio, we're one off.
There we go.
Boom, 414, Qatar, smashing it.
They are. This good pace.
I know a lot of my friends are not going to believe me, but watching like that kind of level of formation skydiving, it's kind of make me want to give it a go. That looks quite exciting. I like the explosivity of it.
At this level, the explosivity is extremely high on everything. And if you watch the top teams, including Qatar, who's just leaving the tunnel, you can really see it, and it really is apparent. And it's one of the things that drew me to it, because it's hard move, hard stop, hard move, hard stop, and doing that efficiently requires a great deal of time, training, and discipline. And here comes Arizona Airspeed from the United States of America.
For real.
For real this time.
Skydive Arizona, who's been nurturing many champions. That's also where a lot of the VFS was born, with Arizona Arsenal.
Absolutely.
Who was very instrumental to creating and developing this discipline. Also mastering the field for a while. They were the first. They won the first World Cup, I believe.
I believe.
And then the Frenchie got the first World Championship. We had Raf, who's actually coming soon for the VFS. But yeah, Arizona, Skydive Arizona has been really one of those places that has been pushing the sports. It's been changing my life personally. I rock up there for 3 months in 2008, and then my life took a 180 into the skydiving world. It is a very inspirational place.
As Airspeed leaves the tunnel, that was an extremely solid round. I think they're going to be very pleased with that, and good finale for them. I think the team is going to be pleased with their performance.
What is the next goal for Arizona Airspeed?
To bump the Frenchies and Hayabusa out of the top podiums.
Wow, way to go.
They'll be going to the World Cup in Eloy in October.
All right, so they're on their home turf, wanting to bring this sport back.
Exactly.
Excalibur.
Exactly. It's time to bring Excalibur home.
Oh, I don't know if that's her home. I've seen it at the French Federation office for quite some years.
It has lived there for many a year.
Yeah, not anymore. Whew.
And speaking of the Frenchies, they are burning this one up, leaving nothing on the table.
the precision, they barely spend half a second. Like, I don't even know how long they spend on those grips, but that is very, very quick.
A half a second is too long.
Yeah, I bet. The French coach on the side of the tunnel looks pretty happy with that performance, and they are also hugging it in. Weembi, the indoor French national team, smashing it at home as Hayabusa is getting ready to get into the chamber. Undisputed champions of the last few years. Final round here for Formation Skydiving Open.
We're off with a good start. Oh, so much power.
Power, precision, focus.
All of it. This is, I could watch this all day long.
I couldn't. Brutal truth, but I really enjoy watching a little bit of it, and it's, I want to try it. When it's flown like that, it really doesn't look boring at all.
Oh,
wow.
Outstanding. And still just burning through it.
And you can
Amazing
see the crowd is gathering in the engine chamber. Everybody wants to watch those guys fly. Yeah, they look pretty happy. They can be, because that is very most likely going to be yet another gold medal for Belgium. Amazing.
Oh, fabulous job, guys. Fabulous job.
Well, thank you very much, Randy. We're going to leave the floor to Jessica for this final of the four-way female. Thank you so much for joining us on the live stream today.
Take care.
Thank you.